everyone. Welcome back to Heartbeat Narratives. I'm Molly, and I'm so excited to welcome our guest today, Bábàc. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you inviting me up here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful Sunday morning here in Kaimuki, and we ran into each other at a Friendsgiving.
Yep, Phil. I haven't been at Phil's place in a long time. It was really great to see you and Alvin over there.
It's kind of fun to reconnect with friends, and when you were talking, I was like, I have to interview him for this podcast.
Oh, that's funny.
It seemed like the way you communicate is so articulate. You have fun stories, and I was like, I gotta pick his brain about what makes him tick. What is it that you just love to do? So
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, what is it that makes your heart beat? What makes you tick?
Yeah, so I thought about this question for a while, and I initially just wanted to say oh, surfing. I love surfing, but it just didn't feel authentic enough. And after doing some thinking, it's a lot of what I enjoy about surfing is actually Hawaii itself. Every time I go surf, and I've been doing this for 10 years now, when I'm in the water, one of the first things I do is I just look around, and I just still cannot believe how beautiful this island is, how lucky I am to live here. And I always think this feeling will fade. I'll be out here and I'll just be like, oh yeah, I'm just in Waikīkī, but it never happens every single time. I look at Diamond Head, or I'll look at Ala Moana Beach Park, wherever I'm at. I'm just in awe of how beautiful everything is. And I think that's one of the things that drew me to the island and what drew me to surfing in general.
What inspired you to move to Hawaii, and how long ago did you come to Honolulu?
I visited Hawaii February of 2015. You know Kev. I used to work with Kev at an Apple store in Oklahoma City. He actually, funny story, had visited my house and knew me when I was a child before we ever worked together.
Really?
I have a big family. So my older brother would have his friends over, and he was friends with my older brother, and then we ended up working together at the Apple store in Oklahoma City, and he moved out here. I had a bunch of vacation time. My boss was like, hey, you need to use this or you're going to lose it. I think I was at 250 hours, so he was like, you need to go. So Kev lived in Waikīkī and was like, hey, you can come out, you can sleep on my floor, and we can just do all the Hawaii things. And I came out here, and I fell in love with this island. Kev was the first person to teach me how to surf. He got me on my very first wave. And I'm from Oklahoma. I had never done anything like this before. I've always been very active, and something about just being in the water and just being in the sun. Coming from a landlocked state, you wouldn't think I would feel so at home in the water, but I've never been fearful or anything like that when I'm surfing. Maybe one time. Maybe we'll get into that story later, but it's just been such a great experience being here and being able to just be active and healthy and just be around like-minded people. It's not the same in Oklahoma, just because the culture and obviously its location is different. But coming here, it was like I could actually be my authentic self here without any compromises. So I visited a couple more times with my buddy Sean, and then I finally was able to move here in December 2015. So I think I visited 2 or 3 times before I moved here because I had so much vacation time. So all of 2015, I met Phil the first time I was here, and he would reach out to me randomly, wishing me a happy birthday and all this stuff. And I thought that was really cool. It's these people I met in Hawaii, they're still they actually just want to say hello and wish me happy birthday and all these things. So I thought the culture and the community here was really great.
It seemed like there was a natural fit with you and the people you met. I've felt that too, where it feels like you're being embraced in a way. And having grown up in the Midwest, I grew up in Minnesota, it's a little harder to build that community, maybe because there's a winter or something. Or
I'm sure it's very cold over there.
But here you just aligned.
Yeah. Again, I think there's just what it takes to be successful out here. It's very different than in the mainland. There's a lot of the rat race mentality. And over here, it's people really just enjoy the moment and being together with people. And that really only occurred in Oklahoma, at least for me, after work, friends would go out and eat and drink like almost every night. And yeah, I would do that too because that's what my friends were doing and I wanted to be around them. But that just gets old after a while. None of them were very active or anything like that. And they didn't eat very healthy. That was another thing I liked about here. There's a lot of like really good food, healthy food, organic food. And it's just a bunch of fried food and beer in Oklahoma. Nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't me. I didn't really like that. That was my environment that I was around that, put me in a position to eat and drink all of that. But I don't really like doing that. I like to just be out and active and enjoying the weather and spending time with friends.
What do you think it is about you as an individual that connects so deeply with Hawaii and the people you've met?
So I have a really big family. So I've not the biggest. Have friends that have like 10 siblings. I have 2 older sisters, an older brother, and 2 younger brothers. So I like to think of myself as the oldest of the second set of 3, but I am child number 4. So, when you're a middle child, you want all this attention and everything like that. My parents, I can only imagine trying to raise 6 kids. I remember looking at their grocery bill. It was like $400 like a week that they were spending. And this was back in 2000. Like, I can't imagine what that bill would be now. But growing up, because I had such a big family, I was friends with all of my brothers and sisters' friends, and then when I would go to school, I'd try to make friends with everybody over there, just to have that type of attention and communication with people. But it always seemed like a lot of work. You know what I mean? It seemed like I had to find a way to connect with people. I try to have an opinion on everything, so that way when I went up to somebody, I could talk to them about the things that they were interested in to try and build that type of connection. But out here, it's like you can have a genuine conversation with somebody at the grocery store, and it's not weird, and people don't shy away from it. Like, I think in Oklahoma or in the mainland, if you try to do that, people, they're just like, they want to be in their own little world and be like, what are you looking in my cart for? But here I've had people say like, oh, what are you gonna make this with this eggplant here? And I'm like, oh, I'm Persian. I like to make this dish called Koresh Badam June, and it is like a Persian eggplant beef stew dish. And they get excited. We talk for a few minutes and then we go our separate ways, and we just kind of enjoy that moment that we had. But I think that was one thing that I noticed with everybody here. Again, like one of the first things that happened when I was visiting here, I think it was me, Kev, and some of the other guys from the Surf Shack. We went out to West Side, and I think they were out in the water, and I was just walking down the beach, and local Hawaiian guy goes, "Ho brother, you want some food?" And just like invited me to this barbecue, and just like I got a burger and ate it and then just left. And like it was just like these acts of kindness were just not something that I was used to, but I felt like I feel like how a community should be. I really, really enjoyed that aspect of like just being here. Everybody's so kind and nice and welcoming. As long as you put that energy out there, that's kind of what you receive here.
So you first came to Hawaii in 2015, and then later that year you moved here.
Yeah.
So that was a quick turnaround.
Yes.
And then you've been here for what, 9 years?
Yeah, it'll be 9 years. Yeah, just hit 9 years.
So what have you observed over time as you've become more and more part of the community? And we'll get into surfing soon. I'm
you're fine.
So fascinated by all
You're
of this.
fine. In the 9 years that I've been here, it's funny how quickly it goes by because there's no major seasons. It's either perfect temperature, a little bit too hot, or rainy. Those are the 3 times that the weather changes here. It moves by really, really, really quickly. A lot of friends come and go. The island life is not for everybody, but I love how in that time that I've seen like the community come together. I live in Waikīkī, so there's always parades and there's always these events that are happening over there, and it's fun to be a part of those. They close down the street, and the tourists come in, and it's just like really exciting. But it's cool to kind of see and hear about the local Hawaiians that live here and the things that they care about. The telescope is a big thing, and I work at the Apple store. I used to work at the one in Waikīkī, and for those of you that don't know, the Waikīkī store has lava rock that's on the wall that was from the Big Island. So Apple spent a lot of money to go through and have a priest bless these lava rocks and have them shipped off to the mainland to get cut, and then they blessed it to come back to the island, and then they did a few other things. There's some issues with it, but they worked with the community to make sure that, because you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to take those rocks. But now that the store is closed, there's kind of like an uproar. They're like, hey, like, you had taken these rocks, and now we would like you to give them back. I don't know what Apple's planning on doing about that, but I do think that it's nice to see the culture and the concern that the local peoples here have for this island. They really respect that. Some of the things that I've seen change, it's hard to say. But I do appreciate being able to be kind of like a fly on the wall with these types of things. Because I will not lie, I'm a little ignorant when it comes to the history of all the plights of like the Hawaiian people, but I have a lot of Hawaiian friends, and they are always ready to like educate me on these types of things.
I think that's beautiful that you have an openness to learning and you're observing, and I feel like that mindset really serves you well, and anybody who's coming to Hawaii and wants to be part of the community. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
Back to your love of surfing. What is it about surfing that just like lights you up?
You have to exist in the moment. You really can't be thinking too much about the past, too much about the future. If you want to enjoy surfing, you have to be focused on what's happening right now. The tides are always changing, the current is shifting, the wind is blowing. You have to see exactly where you need to be positioned in the water to get that next wave. And I have grown up with all kinds of technology. I remember this is like 1996, I remember being on a laptop that my mom had bought. She had a video game store growing up, so she would repair video games, and she built all the computers in my household. My dad's a aeronautical engineer, and he's got a manufacturing business. I'm around all this technology my whole life. What I love about surfing is I can't take my computer out there with me. I can't take my phone with me. I'm not on social media. I'm just trying to do my best every time I'm out there, and that's just really nice. I'm always thinking about what's happening outside of my life that I can't really control, but when I'm surfing in that moment, right as the waves are coming, the only thing I'm focused on is where's the best place to drop in, what am I trying to do, and depending on where I'm at, like who's around me, because I don't want to hurt anybody, and I don't want to drop in on anybody else. So just being able to exist in the moment, truly, like there's no thinking about anything else. Like, this is the wave, I want this one, I'm gonna go for this one, and then you just do what the wave gives you. You just surf that as best as you can. Every wave is different, so if you're not really in that moment, you might wait 30 minutes and this wave comes by and you're not focused on it and you miss out, and then you have to wait another 30 minutes for it to come out for another one. But I think that would be the thing I love the most about it, is just being in the now.
It sounds like there's a freedom to it.
There is a freedom to it. I meant to mention that. I thought about this earlier, and it's like it's very freeing. It's very, very freeing. I have a friend that I work with. His name is Brady, and he's a uncle surf photographer, and he always tells everybody, anytime he mentions surfing, he says, like, only a surfer knows the feeling. Only a surfer knows the feeling. And it's true. When you're on the wave, and it feels like minutes that you're on the wave. And one of the downsides of technology is sometimes I'll have a GoPro out there and I'll be on this wave that I think is amazing, and I look back at the footage and it's like 3 seconds long. I'm like, that was very anticlimactic. It's like, I thought I did a lot on this wave.
It's like the best moment of your week. It's like 3 seconds long.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I don't bring those out anymore.
So is there a wave that's particularly memorable for you, or a day of surfing where you're like, oh, that was like the best day ever?
I have a lot of stories about surfing out there. I think in 2017, there was like a code red swell that had come through Waikīkī, and at the time I was surfing over by the aquarium at a surf break called Castles, and Castles only breaks when it's really, really big, and these waves are double overhead, which don't really happen in Waikīkī very often. And it was me and maybe 2 other people, and at some point they had all left. So it was just me out there in these massive waves that are coming through Waikīkī. I had to work like maybe an hour and a half after I got out there, and I was like, I'm gonna catch some waves, I'm gonna come out there, do my thing, and go to work. I was late, obviously, but if you've ever been out there, you would know that there's this giant reef shelf that you have to paddle through. And I remember catching these waves, or trying to. It's very hard. I was on a smaller board. Had I been on a larger one, it would have been a little bit easier. I remember as I was waiting for these waves, these giant swells were coming through, and I was looking back, and I was like, okay, while I'm here, let me turn around and see what's happening behind me so I can like plan a way to get back into shore. And these waves were crashing on this reef shelf, and from the back they were head high, 7 feet, so in the front they were twice that size, breaking on the reef. And at that moment I was like, well, that's a problem for an hour from now. So I just turned around. I was like, I'll worry about that later. It's like, that's not what's happening right now. Like, I'll figure that out when I'm done. I ended up having to swim like way, like almost to walls from like the aquarium all the way on the outside and paddle back in, so I didn't like get thrashed on these rocks. But yeah, I caught, I think maybe like one wave. I could only catch one wave. My board was too small. But that wave was a lot of fun. It's an interesting thing to think about when you're in these positions where you can't be scared. You can't be fearful in those moments. You have to take everything at face value as it's coming to you. Because I remember, like, when I think about it now, I'm like, man, that's kind of dangerous, But in those moments, you can't panic, you can't freak out. I was just trying to, because at the time, that was like some of the biggest waves I've ever surfed. And I just really wanted one good wave, and I caught one really, really good wave, and then I paddled back in. But it was a really great time. It was early in the morning, shortly after sunrise, like the sun was coming up over Diamond Head. And it's just, that surf break doesn't break very often. So I feel very lucky to have been one of the few people that actually has gotten to surf that particular break, because it might break once a year, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. And I made it back. I didn't get hurt. I didn't break my board. Nobody around me got hurt. It was fun. So that was, I think, maybe one of the first memorable moments I had when I was surfing.
Is it separate from the time that you were scared that you mentioned earlier?
So that moment when I was scared, I'm only scared in retrospect.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, like it terrifies me now to think about it. I can tell the story. This was in 2019, because that was actually the best shape of. I was in the best surfing shape of my life, And I get scared thinking about it now, because there's no way that I'd be able to survive this now. Me and my friend, he runs a surf school on West Side. He reached out to me. He was like, "Hey, North Shore's going off. The waves are like 8 to 12 feet. Like, that's great." And I was like, "Okay, that's awesome." One thing about Surfline is I can never tell if it's telling me the waves are 8 to 12 or if they're 8 to 12 Hawaiian. And surfers will know that if it's 8 to 12 Hawaiian, that's 16 to like 24 foot waves. And so I was thinking like, oh, okay, they're, it's like 8 foot faces to 12 foot faces. I was like, these are the best waves to surf. These are so much fun. So we go up north, we go to Chun's Beach. And, the first thing to think about that should have been a red flag for us is there was nobody in the water. There's not a single person in the water. And we just think we're super lucky. You're like, wow, we're going to get all these waves to ourselves. But right as we were about to get in the water, the lifeguard at Chun's runs over to us and is looking at us bewildered, like, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're just going to go surf. What's the problem? After a few minutes, he begs us not to go. He's like, please, just go anywhere but here. Just go anywhere else. We were like, okay, fine. So we go next door to Lonnie's and we paddle out over there. And as I'm paddling out, you can't tell. Nobody's out there. You can't see how large these waves are. So I'm paddling through this whitewash, duck diving, all of these, and the whitewash just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm starting to think, like, these are like some heavy waves. And right as I'm about to get out to the break, I see one guy, and he has a 10-foot gun out there. And I'm going over this swell, and I'm watching this gentleman fall down this wave on his 10-foot gun as I'm going over it. And that's when I start to realize, like, oh, these waves are massive. These waves are extremely huge. I look over, he catches the wave, and I think, okay, I was like, all right, I'm going to catch one wave, and then I'm going to leave. Right when I think that, like, this rogue wave shows up right in front of my face, and it looked like a building was falling on me. Like, just imagine go up to like a 2-story building. If you have a 2-story home, lay on your belly and then look up directly at the top of your roof, and that's how it felt. And I looked to my left, I looked to my right, and it's almost like a football field size wave, and I'm right in the middle of it. There's a surfer, his name's John. He has I don't know if you can still find it, he has a very funny video. He says, if the wave is breaking here, don't be there. And I was exactly there, because you can't duck dive because the wave breaks on you. So for those of you that don't know me, I have dreadlocks, and I think my dreads were longer than what they are now, so the amount of drag that gets created, it's very hard because I just get tossed around. So before this wave hits me, I'm trying to figure out, like, what do I do? And I was like, well, I know that if my leash snaps, I'm gonna drown out here. So I just barrel hugged my board and just took this wave on the head. It pushes me down however deep, and this is those moments that you can't panic, because if you panic, you use up the oxygen that your body has, and then you freak out and you get up, you gasp for air, and the first thing you should do after you get hit with a wave like that is to look to see what's happening next. So I get hit by this wave, and I get stuck in this whitewash, and I'm trying to paddle upwards or swim upwards, but I think I'm just stuck in a ball of whitewash. It takes me a moment to get back up. I take a deep breath, and before I do anything else, I look back at the horizon to see, like, what's coming next, and then another wave comes by. I grab my board, barrel hug it, get hit by it, pop up again, I get hit by one more wave, and then finally I'm out of, like, the impact zone, and I very calmly look around, because I assume the lifeguard told the other lifeguard, like, hey, we got these morons over here that think they can surf these waves. So I'm trying to be calm, and I let the whitewash finally push me back to shore, and the moment my foot touches dry sand, I just laugh hysterically. And then I see my friends paddle in too. This wave took all of us out. My buddy was telling me, like, right when we got back to shore, he was like, I think that lifeguard was right. We shouldn't have been surfing there. So our other friend was like, I almost drowned. He's freaking out. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, that is the craziest thing ever. You can't panic in those moments, because that's when you get hurt the most. But when I look back on it, it's just like, it's like I'm living it again when I think about it, because this wave was insane. I don't know how those guys surf those waves. I watch these competitions, and these guys are, like, taking the brunt of these waves on their head and pop up, and they paddle right back out. I'm okay. I thought I wanted to surf big waves like that, but I'm good. I'm good head high, maybe 6 to 10 foot faces, which would be like 5 to 6 Hawaiian. Those are my waves. I don't go anything past that anymore. It was too much. I know it's bad. When I think about it, like, even now my heart is racing. Like, when I think about these waves in the past, like, if my heart's racing now, then I know I probably shouldn't be surfing them.
You survived.
I did survive. Yeah. I don't think I would survive now.
Really?
No, not at all. I was surfing every day for 2 to 4 hours a day back then. So if you want to surf North Shore, you kind of have to surf all summer to get your body ready to be North Shore ready. Because if you don't have that stamina and strength to be in the water, the current out there is extremely strong, and it is very difficult to overcome that. You can't fight the ocean. You just have to go with it as best you can. And if your body's not ready for that, like, you should not be in the water at North Shore at all.
It's like a marathon.
Yeah, it is. Because you have to also learn how to hold your breath, and I don't think my breath holds are that good anymore. Not when I was 29, it was perfect. Me being 34, not so good.
I feel like we keep talking about being in our mid-30s.
I think that's a time where we start to realize that we had a lot of fun, we did a lot of great things, and maybe now we should start to prepare while we still have the strength and energy to be ready for our 40s and our 50s and everything. I would love to be out here surfing every day, but there are times where I would wake up after surfing for like a week straight that my body was like, no, you're just gonna sleep all day today. You're gonna wake up, eat everything in your kitchen, and then you're gonna fall back asleep. Like, your body needs to heal. And as I get older, my body is just not healing as fast as it was when I was younger. So I think this is the midlife crisis. That's a real thing. That is very real. I would like to be prepared to the point where, when I'm 45, 50 and I want to go back out and surf, I don't have to be worried financially about, taking time off to go out and do the things I like. And I don't want to be in a position where I physically can't. I try to work out every day. I try to play basketball. I go on walks and try to be active, so my brain is in a constant state of no longer being in the moment as much as I was in my 20s, but now kind of forward looking and saying, like, where do I want to be when I'm 55? I'd like to be here, actually. I'd like to be right back here in Hawaii. I'll have to leave to do that, but when I'm older, I think that's where the end of my life I would like to spend a majority of my time here. This island is just, it's too special. Yeah. Like, if you could live anywhere in the world, like, why would it not be Hawaii? That's my mindset.
So you have to leave in order to come back.
Yes.
Why is that?
There's no high-paying jobs here. So to have an apartment or to have a house, the amount of money that you need is very difficult to get on this island. Some of those high-paying roles are people that have been in those positions for 10, 20 years, and they only open up when one of them retires, and there's too many people on the island. So I'm looking at moving to California, getting a higher-paying job in tech, and then saving some money, then being able to come back later.
I feel like that story is very relatable, especially for people our age or younger. Like, they want to end up in Hawaii, and then there's just this barrier to entry for housing and jobs and so forth. So thank you for mentioning it, because I think it's something that we all feel, and we're trying to navigate that.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a solution to it. It's sometimes the truths and reality of the world are just what it is, and you have to, like you said, navigate around it. I'd love for there to be a solution, but I don't know if there is.
You have a game plan, though.
Right now. We'll come back in 20 years and we'll do episode 2.
My hope is that 80-year-old Bábàc will have his surf days 7 days a week, and that you'll get to watch the horizon, the sunrise and the sunsets. And
I'd really love to watch the whales come by in the morning in the springtime over at Diamond Head. I haven't done that as much as I thought I would do. I've only done it a few times in the last couple of years, but it's just so peaceful. Something about just watching those whales breach and then come back down, and it's just like pods of whales. It's just so beautiful. This place is so wonderful.
Well, it's very clear that you love Hawaii. You love the ocean and surfing. And is there anything else you thought of while we were talking that you want to mention?
I guess I would say, if you're wanting to come by and visit Hawaii, because I know it's a destination place that everybody has on their list, and I talk to a lot of people. The first step one is buying a ticket. Once you buy your plane ticket, you're kind of solidified into coming here. The second thing is just have respect for the island and the people that are here, because that's going to make sure that you have a great time. If you're entitled and feel like the world owes you a great time because you've paid a lot of money to be here, it's the wrong mentality to have, and you're probably not going to have a very good time. So if you'd like to come here, have aloha, and you will get aloha.
Thank you so much for sharing your words, your passion, your joy. So mahalo, Bábàc.
Thank you for having me.